So rules of the lab. First thing you do when you walk into the lab is make sure you don't have any food or drink. If you do, throw it away right away before I see it. Don't take your last swig or your last bite when you're walking in. Do that when you're outside of the classroom. The first thing you do when you come in is wash your hands. There's a sink right here with soap and paper towels. You don't have to use this sink. A lot of times this sink will back up. When it starts filling up with water, usually it's because some of these little bits of paper towel get down into the drain, so you can pull them out of there and it should work just fine. But if it starts filling up and you don't want to do that, then don't use that sink. Okay, we don't want it overflowing. There are tons of other sinks. There are 4 other sinks on that other side. Like I said, the first thing you do when you come in here is wash your hands. There will be some exceptions to that, especially the first 2 days of the hybrid labs when we're doing the hand washing lab and the hand sanitizer lab. You're not going to follow this, but after we do those labs, you will be washing your hands. The last thing you do before you leave is wash your hands as well. So make sure you remember that rule. The first thing you do when you get in is wash your hands. Last thing you do before you leave is wash your hands. Now, when we are doing experiments, a lot of times one of the last things you're going to do when you do an experiment after you clean up is wash your hands. Then what you're going to do is you're going to prove that you were here to do the lab by coming up and signing an attendance book. The attendance book will be on my bench up here. It's not here right now. It's usually a blue notebook. It says attendance on there. It'll have your names, all of your names typed out on there. You will sign next to your name in black ink. Okay? Now, if this is the last lab of the day, then you are free to go. But before you leave, what you need to do is make sure that you wash your hands. Again, even though you just washed your hands, you signed the book. The book is touched by everybody. It's dirty. So you need to wash your hands before you leave. Another classroom rule is we're going to get you in the habit of not touching these door handles, because door handles build disease. Okay, so we're going to pretend that this is the inside restroom door handle. How do you get out? After you've washed your hands, you grab a paper towel, use it as a barrier to get out. Okay? And then usually after the first person goes, they'll prop the door open and everything will be just fine. But make sure you throw away the paper towel. Don't take it with you because the paper towel is contaminated with whatever was on the door. Over here, this side, we have gloves. They are not sterile gloves. As you can see, they're open to the air. We're going to try to be as clean as possible when we use them, though. So, if the gloves fall on the ground, don't pick them up and put them back in there. Try and grab them if you can by the wrist section. Most of the time, you really can't do that all the time. What I don't want you doing is I don't want you grabbing gloves and then putting them all wadding them up in your hand like this and grabbing your gloves and then putting them on, because if you wad them up in your hand, you just contaminated all the outside surface of this glove. So you want to touch them as minimally as possible and then put them on as cleanly as possible. When you take them off, if they have not touched anything biohazardous, they can go in regular trash cans. So here's regular trash cans here. By the gloves, these ones tend to fill up because this is where most people tend to flock. The other trash can over there in the front by the door, and then there's another one that's way in the back over there by another door. There's usually 2 back there. Yes, there is a second one that's back there by the fire extinguisher. But there are plenty of trash cans, so if one starts to fill up, please stop using it and use another one. That also goes with these biohazardous waste containers. And once they get 3/4 full, let me know. You need to stop using them. I do not want these things to overflow. Now, when you actually dispose of waste in the biohazardous waste containers, what I don't want you doing is to look down in there. I don't want you sticking your hand all the way down in there to throw something in there. You notice I looked down in there before. Okay. You don't want to do that because you don't know what's down in there. You want to take your hand, put it above, and then just drop your waste down in there. Okay. That way you don't get stuck by something that's down in there. So please do not let these things overflow. Make sure that you dispose of this waste properly. It's a very, very important rule in this class. Okay, we'll discuss putting on gloves a little bit later in more detail. Usually on the first day, I'll discuss putting on gloves, taking off gloves. But you can watch a lot of videos online about how to do that properly. And they will teach you more about that in nursing school. One of the things I want to stress is that I'm teaching you how to do things in a lab. Okay? In a clinical setting, it's going to be a little bit different. Many of the rules for aseptic technique still are going to apply, but there'll be a lot more rules that you will have to follow when you're actually practicing on a person. This here we're just looking at culturing microbes.